Welcome to this episode of The Working Hour with Mike and Shane, a WHMS produced podcast. I'm Mike, and across from me is my best friend and co host Shane. Go ahead, Shane. Say something. Let people hear your voice.
Hey everyone, I am feeling much better this week. Maybe only 5% sick, so I'm on the up and up.
Go ahead and tell us the album for the week, too.
This week's album is going to be Magnified by Failure, released on March 8th of 1994.
Okay. And we will also discuss my bonus track at the end of the show, which I chose Welcome to Hard Times by Charlie Crockett. If you're new to the show, what we're going to do is go track by track of Failures Magnified, break down each song with our thoughts, feelings, all that good stuff, with a closing of an overall score of 1 through 5 on how we really feel. Um, at the end of this episode, we're going to announce next episode the album we'll be covering and the bonus track that Shane will be picking because it will be my turn to pick the album. Other than that, that's all I have to set the show up. So go ahead and take it away.
So this album has a runtime of 49 minutes and 4 seconds. It was recorded in 1993. Its genre is alternative rock, grunge, and alternative metal. Its singles include Empty Friend and Moth, and that's it. Which, kind of surprising. I feel like there's a handful of other songs on this album that were, in my opinion, deserving of being singles. I'm surprised there aren't at least throw like one more song in there, but I digress. I knew for some time that I wanted to cover an album by Failure, having been a fan of theirs for over a decade at this point. I was always more into Fantastic Planet than I was Magnified, but I do remember Justin telling me that this album was arguably better. Whether I agree or not remains to be seen. We'll get to that. But that made me want to sit down and give this album like its review and properly listen to it. Failure is frequently referred to as your favorite band's favorite band, particularly in the 1990s post-grunge, alternative, and space rock scenes. Known for their dense melodic technical sound on albums like Fantastic Planet, they have a devoted following among musicians, including members of Tool, A Perfect Circle, Paramore, and Deftones. This album also just kind of seemed like a no-brainer for us, given our taste in music. If you Google bands similar to Failure, Hum is the very first band to pop up. So that is all I have. Do you have anything else?
I've got a couple things just worthy to note that the original drummer departed during the recording of the album. The remaining drum parts were played by John Dargahai. Sorry about the pronunciation of that. And Greg Edwards. I also read that there's an article Decibel wrote. Just quote, druggy chord changes slither unpredictably, oftentimes led by a four-string bass quake, alongside primal drumming, both delivered with forceful conviction. I thought that was a good quote because there is a lot of like use of bass in this.
Yeah.
And just it's similar with the primal drumming, like they go hand in hand. So I like that quote. That is all I have though to add.
Okay. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into track number 1. Started off with Let It Drip, coming in at 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Muffled electric guitar with a swell, leading us into additional guitar and drums. The vocals have this distorted way of coming in and out, like there's a sort of fade to them. Breathe your death down, because you will not see it. Let it drip down. Let it soak your feet. The lyrics to the song are very, very, very repetitive. The line I listed is repeated 6 times throughout the song, making up for all the lyrics except for the chorus that appears once on the song. Yesterday I watched her breakdown, split in two. She's quite appealing. Subtle ways I could have hurt her. Rack my brain when I am sleeping. At 147, there is a musical breakdown with some high-pitched ringing of the guitar. Song ends pretty abruptly, with the last 2 seconds quickly changing musically before the song just ends. Song doesn't change very much, given it doesn't change very much instrumentally either, aside from the breakdown I mentioned. Given its shorter runtime, its simplicity it isn't horrible. If it were longer, I would absolutely have wanted a little bit more meat on the bone. Give me a little something else to chew on. I think as it is though, I I don't know. I feel like they do just enough for how short it is, in my opinion. I feel like this works best for just setting a tone right out of the gate. It didn't wow me, but I feel like it sets a solid tone. I give it a 3.1 out of 5.
Okay, nice. I'm slightly higher. Um, Similar notes though. Like I think it was a good. I was even listening to the album on the way over here, and I was like, for what it's worth, like I don't think like I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, this is not one of the better songs on the album. I'm not gonna say it is because I don't think it is, but it's a good intro track. And it's kind of one that like when you, at least for me, when we do the notes, I listen to the album and it's just on repeat, so I know when I get back to track one. And it's kind of distinctive because it is a little different with the guitar on the intro. I thought it was a nice little riff. The guitar kind of seems like turned down, like it's not full volume.
Yeah.
Kind of letting the it's really noticeable once the vocals show up. But it's kind of on purpose for sure. Just kind of creates a sound that you would anticipate with this type of genre. The percussion is kind of like the driving force. With the snare drum, it really creates like a nice tempo with the snare drum. I didn't like dislike the verse, "Let It Drip Down," because the way it's delivered, "Let it drip down," and it's almost like whispered in a way. It's not really saying. It's kind of at a low volume. Like
His
everything on the track is kind of turned down.
his vocals are like that, like quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so similar, like it created a nice catchy swaying sound because it's just "Let it drip down," and but like you said, it's very repetitive.
It kind of makes me think of like Matt Talbot just a little bit, that like he can be very spoken in
Yep.
his delivery,
Yeah,
and then he
similar
can
enough for sure.
like
Yeah,
belt it
I
out
agree,
too.
100%. I didn't really connect hum with any of the songs on this album, but I could. Now that you brought it to my attention, it's like, oh yeah,
Oh,
it's definitely there. You're right. I wasn't crazy about this one either. It definitely, like, if anything, just kind of piqued my curiosity because this was my first real album I've ever listened to by this band. We did a cover by them.
Yeah, we did a
It wasn't
cover.
on the cover episode either. It was
It wasn't them. No, it was 13th Step. Yeah, they covered My Perfect
Nurse.
Circle,
Yeah, the Nurse song.
the Nurse Who Loved Me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought that was a very good cover. And that's actually I saw on Spotify that was like in their top 5. No, it wasn't. I think it's in like the top 10. I don't think they count it because it's a cover.
Okay.
Because it had more views than some of the other tracks, but it was lower ranked.
Sure.
I figured that was because it was a cover. Um, so yeah, it was a fine enough track. It caught my attention, and like I said, if anything, gave me a little bit of curiosity for the rest of the album. I gave it a flat 3.
Okay.
Right there with you. I thought I was a little higher, but I was not. I was looking at track 2. Track 2, though, Moth. I have the runtime at 3 minutes, 50 seconds. So this is a little more interesting on the intro of this track versus Let It Drip.
Single.
Yeah, the guitar is a little tighter and not really as aggressive. The percussion is very similar, which is kind of a theme. Like the percussion is really like a straight and narrow path. Like I don't think it really varies much. With the snare drum again being the overall like punchline. There's also a little bit more percussion overall though to create. It wasn't so much just the snare drum. There was a little bit more. They kind of spread the love out a little bit more. I guess is what I'm trying to say with the percussion. The track is not bad at all. Musically, I thought it was an improvement over the opening track, which was good because I wanted to see that, and I kind of got it quickly. I thought the vocal work was a little better too. It was just a little clearer, and it flowed effortlessly with the music. Ken Andrews' vocals are really good. I like the sometimes puddles terrify me as they gaze up. Scrap of paper floating crumpled. I can't pick up. Goodbye. And it's just goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. His pronunciations are good, and they add like some pizzazz. Like I can definitely appreciate his vocal work for sure, and that's what made the verse good and kind of gave the song, if anything, like a high point. Just because him bringing that to the table definitely bumped it up a little bit. I don't have a whole lot for this one. I did like it. It was one of my more appreciated tracks on the album. I gave it a 3.5.
Okay, we're close. So the drum beat, it's upbeat and it gives a good rising tension to the song. At least that's kind of how I interpreted it at first. Um, the guitar starts up with the vocals not far behind, starting off more softly in their delivery. Sometimes pear-shaped women melt down onto concrete. Onto concrete.
Yeah.
Um, there's some bass guitar that quickly appears at the end of the first few lines. The bass starts to come in as the vocals become more pronounced, starting to escalate. Sometimes puddles terrify me as they gaze up. Before the song really pops at 53 seconds. The drums are thumping hard, really stealing the show, I think. Like they may not like change too much, but like when they they thump.
No, it is
You know what
good.
I
Like
mean?
I do like the percussion. I should add that. Like it is repetitive with the percussion, but it's good.
Yeah. But when they show up, they do show up. Um, but yeah, kind of steal the show for me at that point. The guitar riff is heavy, holding its own against the drums. No one's ever gonna find out from the shut mouth. Just be sure to keep these eyes closed. They can't read those. The music quickly pulls back to just quiet guitar before picking right back up as the vocals return. At 143, additional guitars, sounding very metallic, come in. Sometimes creaking inside here. Sometimes creaking inside here. Know me too well. There is a set of lyrics that sound a bit more spoken word, almost reminding me a bit of hum. I'll never wish for it, but now it grows inside me, just like a moth. Song pulls back, going quiet towards the end of the song. For one last time before popping once again. The drumming, guitar, they come back and pick up and rise for the finale before the guitar rings out and we get a high-pitched ring the last few seconds. This is definitely an improvement over the last song, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
I mean, I feel like there's just more to it, you know what I mean? But yeah, an improvement. Just had more going on. The drumming was a big standout for me on this one. I will say though, I surprised this album only had 2 singles. I could totally see like this being one of them, or this is one of them. My dumbass. Um,
Well, you're right.
though I think there are plenty of other songs on this album. That's in my notes. Plenty of other songs in this album that I feel like are a little bit more deserving of this.
I could see that.
In my opinion.
There was only 2 singles, right?
Yeah. This
there's definitely a
Empty
little
Friend.
bit better fruit on the vine there.
I gave this a 3.6 out of 5.
Okay, so we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're close. On to track number 3, we have Frogs coming in at 4 minutes and 55 seconds. The song is pretty wild with its opening being really scratchy bass and ringing guitar before the drums hit. The song is very like in your face from the jump. Sent away to have my head checked. No more playing in the sand. Frogs are leaping off my brainstem. They don't seem to understand. The vocals are punctuated by the ringing metallic guitar from the beginning. The chorus is short.
I was already laughing. I'm gonna point it out. You're just like I know you're
bobbing.
You're bobbing, but the cat is that Scarlet
Vice.
Vice. Okay, I always get the cat names confused, but she's just like vibing along.
She's with it.
She's like, yeah, I like failure.
The chorus is short, but I like the delivery of. Didn't it seem kind of silly the way the doctors carried on so uptight? The vocals having some layering and distortion to them. The next verse is delivered very low key, almost like being like locked away and cut off from anyone that would actually hear. Then picking up, going back into the next chorus. At 257, the guitar alternates between these lower and high sets of notes as the bass remains steady and the vocals repeat, "Gone away to have my head checked." I guess I need to have it looked at. I've gone away to have my head checked. I guess I need to have it looked at. So long, so long. As the song gradually winds down, becoming quieter as it fades out. I was really rocked by the instrumental during the opening of this track. Also, some of the higher pitched ringing of the guitar, it almost goes just a little too far to the point of being too much, but it never quite crosses that threshold. It toes the line very well in that regard. I give this a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, I'm a little higher on it. I liked it. I like the bass sound on the intro.
Bass is really good throughout this.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of want to bump this
Bump
up
it
a
up a little
little.
bit. No, this was the first one that really like.
3.7. How about that?
I'm good with that.
All
I'm
right.
still a little higher on it than you, but this actually I was listening to it today at work, and I didn't really make it the connection at first, but I was listening to some of Deftones' new album today. It just came across when I was at work.
Sure.
Played randomly, and I was like, the bass in this kind of reminds me of Frogs. Well, I was listening to Frogs, and it reminded me of Deftones, I guess, even though Failure was first.
Sure.
But you get what I'm saying. This song in general, though, sounds just a little heavier because of the bass line, which makes it. It's more of like a. I mean, you were bopping to it when you were talking, so it's good. It's catchy. Ken's vocals again though are solid. The opening verse, you sang it. I'm gonna sing it or I'm not gonna sing it, but I'm gonna say it. But I'm gonna try to sing it actually a little bit because I have to do it a little bit of justice. Send away to have my head checked. It's just catchy. Also, the frogs are leaping off my brainstem. The delivery and his vocals are just really good. Like so far, this is the best track, hands down. I feel like you would agree with me on that too. Um, and it really had me at that point. It was similar to the previous track with the vocal flow, with the music. The music is a little bit of a faster tempo, and the vocal delivery is a little slower, and it kind of creates an offset. And I really like that. Like I've kind of used that word, the offset, when the music is faster and the vocals are slower, or vice versa. And it's a nice little creation. And this song, like I said, it really the bass line is really what sent it home for me. It's a driving force from this track from start to finish, along with the percussion. But I feel like the bass line is really the attention getter on this one. Vocally, it's solid too. It's a great showcase of Ken Andrews' talents. Ken Andrews. Um, it's a little bit of a repetition again, but I really like the bass line, and it didn't really make any drastic changes musically. But these are just little gripes that I don't even really have because I'm a fan of both parts of them, the repetition and the bass line. This made my like songs. I don't want to say first listen, but probably like pretty early on. Um, I gave this a 3.8. So now we'll move us on to track number 4, which is actually the only track that I knew going into this that I'm aware of. There's another one I'm pretty sure later on that I think you've probably played for me. Bernie, I definitely probably heard from you. I'd like to think I found it on my own, but I probably found it because of you, Mr. Shane. So yeah, going into this, I kind of knew what I was in for on this one. I don't know if I announced the runtime, 5 minutes 17 seconds. So one of the longer tracks we've gotten so far. It opens up with a nice strumming guitar, and while it's not like acoustic, the song feels more acoustic sounding than anything we've gotten this far. Um, the song kind of incorporates all the sounds from previous tracks, but incorporates them in like a new way. And there's also like a few new things, and it's just like one final polished product. You get the strumming guitar. That's kind of new, but it's more of like a higher energy guitar that shows up later. The bass line is present again, but not like Frogs. It's not as heavy as Frogs, but still it's there. Like Let It Drip and whatever track 2 was, Moth, where it's similar in there. Um, the snare is pretty evident on this one again, but on the back half of the track, there's a little bit piano in there. It sounded like just a little bit of a nice string utilization. Vocally, same thing, combines similar sounds from previous tracks. The distorted vocals, then there's like a clear delivery, talk singing, and then actually like a harmony sound from Andrews. I like the smoothness and the backing vocals on the. Bernie's got the way to feel good times. She lives on the way to the park. All we've got to do is just drop by. We don't have to wait until dark. It's nice. It's a little long musically, and vocally it really takes its time. Like this is one of the slower paced tracks for sure, especially coming off of Frogs. It's quite a bit slower. Um, there is again a little bit of repetition. It's not really a jam sesh sounding song, but it's got vibes like that that would kind of just be something I would anticipate if you saw it at a show. This would be something to close with, just because it kind of does seem like a jam session on on the backside of the track. Overall, there's a reason it was already on my like songs, and I was curious that this would fall off compared to some of the other tracks. Because sometimes we'll go into an album and I already know a track off of it, and I'll be like, "Well, I already like this one," and then I'll listen to more tracks.
Mm.
But Burning is solid, and I'm not saying none of the other tracks really wowed me, but Burning was one I came in kind of high on it, and I didn't really let that go. I gave it a 4.1.
Okay, close again. Uh, Song opens with the plucky twanged acoustic guitar, followed up by the bass, then the drums before quieting briefly before the ringing guitar comes in with an additional bit of electric guitar in the background. Vocals come in 54 seconds in, blowing fire through the hillside, pelting wings stuck to quick slime, or stuck to quick lime, smashing nobody's headlights. Nothing tells us we're alive. The guitar becomes the guitar that we heard just earlier, just like more in the background before the ringing guitar comes back, leading us to the chorus. The vocal delivery up until this point being a little bit more reserved, um, as it will escalate as the song goes on. Around the 2 minute mark, the acoustic guitar, the scratching guitar, and the bass guitar like play off each other really well, uh, like like they were just waiting to explode. At 3:08, we get an instrumental breakdown that really teases you, making you think the song is going to pop off before the ringing guitar comes back in. As the song pulls back before a quick build up, finally for the pop. The instrumentation is heavy, the vocals are yelled. Bernie's got the way to feel good times. She lives on the way to the park. Yeah. All we've got to do is just drop by.
I always thought it was all we gotta do is just drive by.
Okay.
It's like I just want to see what she's doing.
Yeah. So is she? Uh, we don't have to wait until dark. Like the
No, it
build
definitely picks up on the back half, like
Yeah.
that jam session sound where it's just like
big time.
musically they are very good.
They definitely took their time to get there, but it makes the payoff really nice.
Yeah, I would anticipate it though with like that long. I didn't realize how long it was until I like.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really seem like it's that long. Like it doesn't overstay its welcome.
It flows-
I don't think so.
It flows very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't like really drag.
No.
I do think there is like a tease once or twice where you think it's gonna get going.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that. That's about it. Yeah, the payoff is excellent. The guitar work sounds almost apocalyptic at the end, but the vocals have an almost like celebratory sound to them and their convictions. Um, Really great song. It's possibly my favorite off the album. And I mean, I did put that whenever I was taking the notes. So, I mean, there's still more songs to come that might dethrone it. But I gave it a 4 out of 5. So, on to track number 5. We have Magnified, coming in at 4 minutes and 36 seconds. There's a quick burst of like bass and guitar for a few seconds before the drums hit crashing, like with the cymbals and some deep metallic drum beat too. I really like how consistent this like shaky and scratchy bass is throughout the song, just kind of lingering over the song like a dark cloud. I'll show you a trick with ants when the sun's high in the sky and we can burn them to crispy black shells. See them crunched by old, slow, slick snails. On the pre-chorus, we get these 3-second bursts of guitar at the start of each line, before pulling back for about 3 seconds, before coming right back for 3 seconds. Coming off the pre-chorus, we get a quick drumming breakdown, taking us into the chorus. The sun's just a big glass. We're all ants. I love you. The song has a very fast, upbeat, and heavy nature to it before an abrupt end at 3 minutes in. The song goes on with these electric zips and short vocalization before the acoustic guitar comes in, as well as some additional sound effects. One kind of sounds like a toy, like being wound up, just a little bit. It's at the end of the song, but like You hear it, it's like, yeah, it sounds like they're winding up a toy that's just got across the table or something. Which I feel like on Fantastic Planet they get a lot more experimental with like shit like that. Like there's a lot of like
More abstract kind of stuff.
yeah, like there's a lot of like clock sound effects, like them going off and like it's a whole thing. But this part of the song, I can absolutely see the inspiration that this had on A Perfect Circle, and also how this would lead us into Fantastic Planet. I really love the final minute and a half of the song. Something about the acoustic guitar just sounds really kind of haunting and kind of entrancing too. It's kind of pretty. I give this a 3.8 out of 5.
Okay, I'm a little lower on this one. Um, this one wasn't like it didn't really give me a whole lot. I mean, even listening to it now, it's not bad. I'm gonna bump up my score a little bit from the original I gave it. Because listening to it now, and I no, I didn't listen to this on the way over. I only listened to the first 4 tracks, but it's very similar with the bass intro to Frogs, because it is so like boom boom boom, like it's just a very deep bass sounding guitar, percussion sounding about the same, which is kind of a going theme at this rate. The lead guitar sounds a little bit different, almost like a '90s. I mean, this is stretched. I probably am not putting the right adjectives in here to describe it, but almost like a '90s island sound, like just I don't
Hmm.
know. It just has like a different feel to it. The vocals kind of give off like a more of a '90s punk vibe. At least that's kind of my take. Is one of the first songs that really gave me like anything, um, delving into that genre at all. Did you list the genres of the album?
The genres?
Yeah.
Yeah, alt rock, alternative metal, and grunge.
Okay. Yeah. See, I didn't think there was anything punky. I was
This this almost reminded me of Breed, just a little bit,
I could see it.
a
Yeah.
smidge.
I was waiting for you to be like, "Oh, Faith No More," because
Not on this album.
that's the running joke.
Not on this album.
The tempo is similar to a lot of the other previous tracks, relying steadily on that snare drum beat, which I don't hate. Um, the song, while the bass guitar is driven on the intro, it kind of does fade off a little bit, and let the lead and rhythm guitar really shine, kind of take the spotlight. The bass is still definitely there; it's just kind of a little bit more in the background. The percussion, like I said, is pretty much typical sounding to what I consider the going rate for the album. This part, 258, like you touched on it, the music fades out, and we get another side of the coin. I didn't see this really at all with the short runtime of just like not that it's a short runtime, but just with it only being 4.5 minutes. I didn't think there'd be like a second half or like a hidden track or anything like that. But the song starts right back up with pretty much like the same strumming. I'm sorry, with some really pretty strumming. Sounds like 2 guitars total, with one playing more of a backing acoustic sound, rhythm, and the other just kind of being more like really amplified. It's pretty on the fade out, and I liked it. I just thought it was like a weird fit that they kind of threw that in there. I think that's kind of just threw me for a loop.
Sure.
Um, Lyrically, I didn't really put much except the same stuff that you put. I like the opening verse. I'll show you a trick with ants when the sun's high in the sky and weekend. I didn't put the full verse because it's like anybody. Did you ever do that as a kid with the ants?
I did not.
I didn't either, and I'm glad I
I knew
didn't.
that was the thing you could do, but I never.
Yeah, I never did it either. It's like, oh, and that's crazy because I was a little bit of a pyromaniac when I was a young lad. Um, but we get that verse on the intro, and then later, same thing as what you said. Sun's just a big glass. We're all ants. I love you. It's not a bad track. I like the vocals. It just wasn't my favorite. It was my least favorite, which isn't really the worst, because I've enjoyed everything, and I enjoyed this one. It was fine. It just, if I had to put them all in a row, now Let It Drip might actually be a little bit worse. So I guess it wouldn't be my least favorite. Uh, I gave it originally I gave it a 3.4, but I'm gonna give it a 3.6 because I think it should definitely be a little higher than Let It Drip. Moving on to track 6, we have Wonderful Life. A little bit over 5.5 minutes here. I have the runtime at 5 minutes 34 seconds. Pretty quick intro on this track. I like the sound from the get go. Music included, the bass. It's pretty equally utilized. Like percussion, it's very similar to a lot of the other like the other previous tracks. I like the verse, and the vocals are a little bit different on the delivery. Not different, but just different compared to like some of the other tracks. Like it's like a callback with a lot of their sounds. but just it's not about the freeway drone. I like that. It also kind of it flows into that verse later on. Her eyes are closed and the brake light streaks, and then it flows into I'm going down to the wonderful life. I'm going down. It's catchy and it kind of vibrates. It holds quite a bit of energy with the main guitar riff. And then we get another verse later on. Sleep in the softest bed, eat everything you need, never ask anyone for anything at all. Around this verse, the music has gotten a little more like bass heavy and almost like more angry. Like I feel like it kind of builds a little bit of energy. I was a fan of that. Song was like a nice refresher, if I'm going to say anything, just kind of like coming off the previous track that I wasn't crazy about. This one definitely brought me right back into like a pretty decently high score. The track reminded me a little bit of The Offspring, a little bit vocally,
Okay.
similar
I can
enough.
kind of see it.
Yeah, it's not like it's briefly at certain parts. Not the whole track, obviously. I don't have a whole lot for this one, shockingly. I gave it a good score, though. I liked it. I gave it a flat 4.
Okay. So I
I'm,
got
I'm
the
anticipating I'm a little higher on this one than you.
yeah, actually. The distorted guitar opens before the instrumentation drops 8 seconds in. The same guitar as before, but now clear with some bass and drums. The guitar work on this track, again, I can see inspiring a perfect circle. To me, it reminded me a lot of Pet from the 13th Step. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know. I would have to play it side by side, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where I was at. I was like, I'm not familiar enough with that.
The lyrics on this track are like particularly dark. It's not about the boy found slain. It's not about his lips blood drained. You should have seen his dreams dissolve into a dumpster behind the mall. The pre-chorus, the guitar changes up and starts to build, really paying off, especially on the second pre-chorus. For the first chorus, about 2 minutes in, sleep in the softest bed, eat everything you need, never ask anyone for anything at all. The bridge has vocals that are yelled, echo out. Why can't I stroke this world to sleep? At 3:30, the song goes quiet for a second before really exploding back in for the chorus with vocals that get kind of buried in the instrumentation, but are um, are at the most yelled in their delivery. From here we get the outro with some really metallic guitar and vocal layering, like a ripped up kite. I'm going down with broken ribs. I'm going down to a dirty crib. Some solid instrumentation on the song, makes for some good moments, but it's not one of my favorites off the album. I went like a good bit lower on this. I gave this a 3.2 out of 5.
I'm not mad at you.
On to track number 7, we have Undone coming in at 4 minutes and 27 seconds.
This is a good one.
This is a good one. I really like this one. This brings us to what I do consider this my favorite off the album. Not to spoil it, but
I'm
yeah,
spoiling it.
yeah. Sonically, the guitar is just it just sounds so good.
It sounds so 90s tastic though.
Yeah.
Like I had this old 90s video. It was a racing game, but like the guitar in it was just like so 90s. And this reminded me of something. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it's like nostalgic in a way.
But yeah, the guitar, the interplay between it, the vocals, the drums, it all flows together very well. It sounds fantastic. Song opens up with the instrumentation sounding very dire and urgent before the main guitar comes in. Sounds like distorted, and it rings out with a 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, like on the guitar. Just ooh. Someone said they'd like to set you up. They're gonna feed off you. Just sleep now. Like
going off the
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It syncs up really well. Yeah, it just syncs up wonderfully with the lyrics. I like the backing guitar squeals leading us into the chorus with the drums picking up. Let me come undone in your house. I need to kill some time tonight. 213, the drum beat changes up, sounding kind of effects heavy, and the bass gets some time to shine. I appreciate the line, your face is easy to hate, looking helpless and sincere, curled up in self sickness. Lick your wounds and dream of home. At 2:45 through until 3:10, we get an instrumental break before the vocals come back for the final pre-chorus. At 3:55 through until the end, we get another musical break to close out the song as the guitar warbles and fades out. I give this a 4.1 out of 5. So, all right, and I could potentially go. No, I feel like 4.1 is good. Yeah, but yeah, it's probably my favorite off the album.
So, yeah, upon my first listen, I had searched like top stream failure songs, and I was excited to see Undone at number 4, and it's the only song from the album that was in their top 10 actually overall. And I'm pretty positive you played this last week alongside Bernie after last week's pod, but I can't remember for sure. But I remember hearing it and being like, okay, I like this. I really enjoyed the vocals. That let me come undone at your house. I need to kill some time tonight. Yeah, it's just very the way he flows. It's a smooth delivery, and the bass line is thumping. Percussion is pretty reserved, and it's a little different on this track, I will say, because I've been hammering it away that it's the same, but it's a little different. It's a little more reserved on this track, and I liked it. The main guitar is just kind of doing its thing, similar riff, like you were saying. Brr, brr, brr. It's very catchy, but it's different. It's like a little off, but it's really good. I thought this kind of came across as one of their more like popish sounding tracks, just with the just kind of like a poppy vibe. Um, this is definitely one of the more like solid solid songs on the album. I almost butchered it again. And it comes off a little more polished than some of the other stuff. Like this is just a really good one through and through. Like there was no parts where it really jumped crazy, but this was one where it kind of stayed similar and it was still just solid all throughout. Um, I had mentioned when talking about Bernie that I wondered if it would fall off. Bernie didn't. This one did just a little bit compared. Like I did give it a lower score than Bernie, but it's still really good. And it's Bernie and this track are like maybe in a tie race for first and second. I'm not sure who would really be the winner, but both are like solid tracks. If I was going to pick any track off this album to show anybody, it would be one of the two. Um, I gave it just a little bit lower score than you. I gave it a 3.9. And that will move us to track number 8, Wet Gravity. It's a long one, a little over 6 minutes. 6 minutes, 6 seconds. Another like heavy bass intro, not as heavy as like Frogs, but still it's more of like a heavy distorted intro. Even the vocals on the get go are a little bit more distorted sounding. Track really presents itself in a little more of a heavy punk sounding, which I thought was nice. It was a nice little genre jump from the previous track, which, like I said, sounded more popish to me. The track is pretty lengthy at just over 6 minutes. It's a big factor in that lengthy runtime is the last guitar fade out around the 3:40 mark. The music just fades out and some percussion starts, and we get what sounds like a new song. The guitar picks up with a steady riff, nothing crazy, just sounds like something is like rubbing something on the strings. It's a machine-like noise, kind of like a hum. Pretty much holds the sound the remainder of the track. Wasn't crazy about the ending of the track, but overall I felt like the first half was pretty solid. Um, I read some pretty interesting theories about the track on Reddit. Not really like a whole bunch of people were putting this out there, but a lot of people were pointing to the song being about a pregnant woman drowning herself. I don't know if did you see that anywhere? Or?
I didn't, but I can kind of like going off what I'm like looking at lyrically. Yeah.
It's about her drowning herself with rocks in her pockets. I also read that like people were thinking it was more like a cult thing where she was just like impregnated, kind of like just keeping the cult alive or whatever, and she was like, I can't like keep doing this.
Sure.
Because there's where's it at? I don't know if I put those lyrics down, but later, like, there's a part where it's like just like last time or whatever. Anyways, she was giddy with remorse as she skipped river stones, off slick, rapid rushing heads. Babies belched from below, clenching shame in her stomach. It felt the same as last time. That's what I was doing the callback on. Maybe just like she's pregnant again, and for the call or whatever. That's just what I was reading on Reddit. But it definitely put like some more darkness themes into the song. I personally like the song. I'm not crazy about the whole concept of it, but it's a nice like rocky song. It was one of the songs that like we've covered plenty of them here on the Working Hour, where it's like I like this song a lot, and then you listen to it, and analyze it with the lyrics, and you're like, that's
A little
a little
rough.
sad. It's not something you're gonna play at the birthday party for the kids. There's a later verse. She put rocks in her pockets, knowing wet gravity, shrunk away from the water's edge, fell down hard by a tree. Overall, I thought it was a solid track. It really carries like some heavy themes. Um, it's the first track that really struck me as anything having like a storyline or kind of like not selling, but telling a story or something like that. Which I'm a fan of, like tracks that have a little bit of concept to them or like a storyline, a plot, whatever. So I didn't give it like a crazy low score, but I didn't give it anything crazy. I just gave this a 3.5. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't anything like spectacular, especially with that second half. Just kind of like caught me off guard.
Sure. Um, yeah, it does kind of seem like on the second half of the album they start to get a little bit more, I don't know, experimental with it, mixing it up. Um, anyway, the bass guitar is the instant standout, followed by some guitar. The bass kind of reminds me of a filter, just a little bit.
So yeah, I haven't really listened enough of Filter to know.
Okay, mainly just "Hey man, nice shot." Yeah,
That's like I was gonna say. It's like right, pretty much on a song I know.
but yeah, there you go though. But this kind of reminds me of that just a little bit. But the bass is like followed up with the guitar and the drums, some emphasis on the cymbals. A lot of cymbals on this. The guitar rings out, bringing us to the first verse. She was giddy with remorse as she skipped river stones, off slick, rapid rushing heads. Babies belched from below. The vocals and guitar both come off as distorted. At 54 seconds, the music changes, the drumming becomes more rapid, and the guitar more distorted and almost spinning out on the chorus. Clenching shame in her stomach, it felt the same as the last time. Cramming fear in her white fist, hoping this was the last time. Coming off the second chorus at 2:30, the instruments hit hard and they hit hard and heavy, totally burying the vocals. At 2:55 through to the end is all instrumental, completely changing at like 3:25. The guitar fades out and it becomes this muffled electronic percussion um, followed up with additional guitar and drumming. This whole section sounding very washed out. The song winds down for the last 20 or so seconds. The song is very fast and aggressive before it really starts to slow down on the second half, becoming something like totally different than what came before. Um, all in all, I gave this song just a flat 3 out of 5, and that feels a little low, honestly, but whatever, it's fine.
I think when we were talking about like top 5 songs, I was like, yeah, White Gravity's. Did I put White Gravity in my
I
top
think you
5?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like for me, it's because I don't know, it's kind of sandwiched between Undone and Empty Friend, and I think both of those are
Yeah,
pretty
you
great.
like both of those, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
so I don't know. And then, like we said, it is kind of long, and it's like, oh, the second half.
second half
So,
definitely falls off.
so it's like, could I go higher? Yeah. Do I like really feel like going higher?
No.
Not
I know,
really.
sure.
On to track number 9. We have Empty Friend. The song wastes no time getting going with the full band playing right away. The bass is pretty distinct as the vocals come in on the verse. The guitar is also pretty scratchy during this section. I came here to be shallow and to watch you spill out all your dreams. Suck them up like a cool drink. I was never too willing to leave. This leads us right into the chorus. Some empty friend who talked me into sleep. Sweet dreams. And threw my wings into the blazing sun. It fucking rocks. It's good. I mean, it just does. At 143, the drums really build and go off as we hit the second chorus. The bridge hits, and we get some vocal layering and some very twangy guitar. Caught up in my thoughts of beehive swarming. I can't swat you out. Your stories are too sweet. We get one more chorus that is more quiet and stripped down before the full instrumentation comes back and the vocals grow louder. The last 45 seconds or so is a musical break for the outro with some really nice layering of the guitars as the song winds down. I gave this a 3.6 out of 5.
Okay, I'm actually higher on this than you.
Okay.
Wowzers. So yeah, call back to our earlier conversation. I asked you about your top 3 or top 5 favorites, and you had texted me this was like the last track on the album that I hadn't heard, and I was just kind of like I left off with my notes at track 9, so I was kind of excited to listen to this, just kind of based on you telling me that you were like, yes, I like Empty Friend. So I was excited. Overall, I'm in the same boat with you. I liked it. It's solid sounding musically, really energetic, still utilizing the bass, but it's not as heavy feeling as some of the earlier tracks, but it's still like very evident. It's a little faster pace. Main guitars are again kind of like punk sounding, scratchy sounding, like you were saying, Shane. Um, the returning chorus with the powerful bass line backing it. Some empty friend who talked me into sleep. Sweet dreams. I was reading again on the Reddit that the song has like some very heavy heroin undertones to it. Definitely being the empty friend who talked me into sleep is definitely some H. Um, and I guess from what I was reading, like a lot of people are like, yeah, a lot of their songs are referencing heroin more or less. I kind of meant to bring that up on Let It Drip because there was a couple parts of it like today when I was listening to it where I was like, I wonder. And I wanted to get kind of your thoughts on it too, but I forgot to bring it up. But this one definitely, I can certainly see it. I enjoyed it though. I thought it rocks pretty hard. I think that's similar to what you said, Shane. I gave it a 3.8. And that will move us to the final track, track number 10, with a runtime. It's a long boy. I hope you got time. It's like if you get a 10-minute break at work, this is going to be 70% of your break. Runtime at 7 minutes, 13 seconds. We have Small Crimes. The final track, and as I was mentioning, the longest track. It's very slow, and the bass is distorted on the intro. The vocals are a little different sounding too, a little harder to understand. I thought the song kind of had like more of an eerie, heavy vibe to it than a lot of the other tracks. Reminds me some like similarly to some Black Sabbath at times. Not really, but the guitar is a heavy bass distortion that reminded me a little bit of Black Sabbath. Um, the vocals do get a little clearer on the verse. Matches don't get wet. Warm winds, calling me a coward. Make me smile, and from that point, that point on they sound a little clearer from that verse. It's a little easier to listen without the lyrics. At least it was for me to like actually listen to it and comprehend it, and not just have to follow along. Um, Eventually, the distorted, quiet vocals kind of return, but they're there to create that type of sound. So I completely get it. I can't really like argue with that. That's kind of like their sound at points. Eventually, around the 5.5 minute mark, the music fades out, and I'm thinking bonus track time, but not the case. The track just kind of holds the tempo for just and then it just kind of transfers into a heavy jam session with what sounds like some added strings. Then also like a very heavily distorted guitar. Uh, Long story long. Actually, short story long. No, long story long. What I'm trying to say is long track, short notes here. I don't have a whole lot for this one. Um, I do appreciate it. Like it's one of those tracks where it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna jump to the back of the album and listen to this by no means. I thought it was an alright closing track because it is kind of lengthy and it gives you plenty of time to like decompress from the energy of some of the other tracks. Like if they would have closed with frogs, no bueno. I probably been like, that's too much, man. It's too much. Um, like I said, I do like it. It's not something I was crazy about. I would skip around for it. I do appreciate it. It's one of the tracks where it's, yeah, I wasn't crazy about it, but I appreciated it. Score is going to be a little lower, um, but it's still not a terrible song. I gave it a 3-3.
Okay. So I was totally unprepared by like how heavy and deep the guitar was going to be at the start of the song. What you were saying about it like kind of remind you of Sabbath a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely where I can see the whole the genre of alternative metal. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that shines through big on this one. Additional guitar comes in as well as some building percussion. There's some very high pitched tings that can be heard as the vocals come in. The delivery of the vocals are soft, slow, very much beneath the music. Small crimes. Smiles stretched on old trees. Strike your match so lightly. Watch the crooked smoke rise. At 136, the music changes up and the deep guitar and percussion have gone. The sound is almost more acoustic and the bass is incredibly deep and warbled. Before we go back to the initial music from the first verse, at 242, we get a metallic 1-2 beat before the music really drops and gets heavy. The vocals now more pronounced. I do like the transition lyrically. Uh, Whatever turns you on is fine with me, as long as, and the music drops, matches don't get wet. 357, the song goes back to its early sound, with the vocals being much softer in their delivery, contrasted by some backing vocals that are more pronounced. 506, the song starts winding down. At 548, the song starts gradually building back up with another heavy drop around 611. The electric guitar starts squealing like crazy, paired with the other instruments, make for a like really big finale to the song. I really like the fade out and gradual fade back in for the ending of the song. I thought that was really cool, and I can't think of many other examples of like me hearing that. It's like, oh,
this track is kind of by itself with the heaviness.
yeah,
I'm kind of glad they saved it for last
same.
because I don't know if it would have fit anywhere. I don't think it fits great as a closer, but it's not bad, and I don't think it could have fit anywhere else.
Yeah, it's like I feel like this would have fit worse as like track 4.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
just in the middle,
Yeah,
no man's land.
no. Um, yeah, the rest of the song is all right, but it didn't do a ton for me. I gave this a 3.2 out of 5.
Okay.
So, all in all, I did not like this as much as Fantastic Planet. However,
I knew that.
however, Fantastic Planet is a lot longer than this album. I think it was like 17 songs, and this is 10. So it's like
Almost twice as long.
it's like
Close enough.
maybe I need to go and listen to that one again and be like, well, like pound for pound, like what's better? So, but there's some good shit on this.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sad that I like picked this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I didn't have any problem going through it. It all flowed pretty easy and was easy to digest.
You have any other thoughts on the album?
I liked it. I'm in the same boat. Other than the fact that I don't know the other album, but this was my introduction album to them, and I liked it. Nothing really truly knocked my socks off, other than Undone. Undone was pretty good, but Bernie I kind of knew going into it. But I'm
Sure.
glad I listened to the album has Bernie on it. That's I got to actually experience the whole thing. It is a fun enough album, and it's some of the tracks by themselves are long. But it's a decent album. I don't know if it's something I would listen to cover a lot, but it's a fine album by its own, and I'm glad we listened to it. How many albums do they have? Do you know off the top of your head?
Because I looked on Spotify, and I know for a fact they're missing one. They have Comfort, which is their first album, then Magnified, then Fantastic Planet, and then
It
there's
did.
one called Golden, but I think that is
Our
just
greatest hits.
no, it's from 2004. Oh, unreleased songs, so it's kind of
Yeah.
yeah, just stuff that never
We
came
need
out.
some money. Let's,
And then there's The Air's on Fire, which actually comes out April 24th of this year.
okay. We
But
should maybe do that.
potentially, but they are missing an album, and I think it is called "The Heart Is a Monster." I looked on Spotify and it's not on there,
Huh.
so which is weird. Yeah, "The Heart Is a Monster." It came
Maybe
out
the
in
label or something didn't want it on Spotify or something.
something. It came out in 2015, and there's certain moments on this album that I was like, kind of makes me think of this. Kind of makes me think of "The Heart Is a Monster" just a little bit. But and then I kind of pulled it up and I'm like, okay, maybe not as much as I thought, but I can still see that it's like, yeah, it's the same band. Especially like, we don't gotta get into all that to a song that fucking only I've heard and you haven't.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's fair.
So,
Fair point.
but that being said, you ready to move on to the bonus?
Let's move on to the bonus. You want me to take it away or?
Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, I'm fine with that. The bonus track that I chose for this week is "Welcome to Hard Times" by Charlie Crockett, with a runtime of 3 minutes 5 seconds. This is the opening track from the 2020 album, "Welcome to Hard Times." I like the country folksy kind of swing sound that the song creates, but it also sounds like carnival music to a certain extent. I didn't really take the track too serious. The lyrics at times are a little cheesy, but I've always liked this track, and it was a track that I actually got to see live before I even knew who Charlie Crockett was. Like before I even searched it out, and this wasn't even one that I liked the most. Like $10 Cowboy was probably the track that I walked away from the show I was at liking the most. But this one was good. It's nothing like I'm not too crazy about it, but he's a pretty good musician. I like Charlie Crockett. He's fine. Um, it kind of gave me a little bit of like a Red Dead Redemption vibes, maybe, but it kind of just it's such a humorous track for me that I just kind of picture like it's Dutch and the gang and like Arthur Morgan just doing like some bloopers to the track. Like I keep thinking of like Woody and Toy Story bloopers, and it makes me think of Dutch and Arthur. But anyways, the chorus is kind of like the bread and butter. Welcome to hard times and feeling low. Do you like sinning? Do you like sinning? No. Well, you will before you go. We got lots of gambling. Oh, and we're telling lies. You're certainly welcome to hard times. Charlie's vocals are pretty good. I'm a fan of his voice, but I feel like most people, it's going to be hit or miss, and that's fun. I get it. Like I wouldn't expect everybody to love his vocals. It's not a crazy high score track for me, but this is one I do like, and I plan on checking out like some of his other albums. As far as like new country goes, a lot of people, like I said, love or hate him, but a lot of people kind of appreciate his older sounding style. And I will say, for what it's worth, when I did see him live, it was a hot day. I was in shorts and a t-shirt, and I was sweating pretty hot in the humid Ohio summer. And him and his whole band were out there in like long sleeves, long pants, hats on. Like it was a very, very nice performance, and I can respect that. Uh, I gave it a 3.5 for me.
Okay, close on this one. Song opens with piano, some simple, deep percussion, and multiple guitar. Very old classic country sound to it. Life's a casino, I'm telling you. Everybody's playing. Boys and girls, women, children, me and you. And I like that. I like the way it kind of cuts like a word a little short. Me and
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Uh, 51 seconds in, we get a 1-2 beat leading us to the chorus with some backing vocals at the start and end of the chorus. Welcome to hard times and feeling low. Do you like sinning? No? Then you will before you go. The piano keys and guitar play off each other, coming off the chorus, giving a little musical breakdown where the high pitched keys kind of steal the show. The song lays down another verse and chorus before we hit the outro. Yes, I hope you're feeling welcome to hard times. And hard times is kind of plainly spoken, is that there's hard times. Because there's no music behind it or anything. The song is short. It's simple. I really appreciate it. Just getting to listen to some music that like has that classic country sound to it. It's just so different than the album we just listened to.
Yeah,
So,
that is one thing. When I was listening to it, I was like, I kind of clunked that one, bud.
No,
That sounds
it's okay.
similar.
It doesn't have to. It doesn't have.
Well,
to
there was one other album that I did where I think you gave me like 2 choices, and I picked like my bonus track was like it didn't go with the album I picked. It was like the Rick Ross episode.
I think
feel
so.
like.
But that's okay.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot I can really.
They ain't got to be the same.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I like that to a degree, but sometimes like I think it's because I did the notes for Charlie Crockett right after I finished up
Sure.
the heaviest, bassy Black Sabbath sounding song off the Failure album.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, let me listen to Hard Times. Was completely different genre, but
I hear you. I give this a 3.4 out of 5.
I'm glad we were close.
So
I didn't anticipate. This is kind of me testing the waters on you because I feel like country,
Mhm.
a little bit more me,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So
No, it is. That you're not wrong. So, but I'm susceptible to it, and I do think this song's like charming in its sound. So, anyway, what is next week's album?
Next week's album, we're going to be doing. It's an album from 2011. It was kind of inspired. I've wanted to do this album I wouldn't say I've wanted to do it for a while, but it's one that I've kind of like tossed around as a callback to something I listened to back around like the high school years. This came out. I graduated in 2013. For what it's worth, 30. I'm an old man now.
Sure.
This came out in 2011. Yeah, you're 32 now.
I'm 30. All right.
Yeah.
Not 32. I'm 30 as well.
yeah, you're actually a younger 30.
I am a younger
He's
30.
the newer 30.
I'm the
model.
baby.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. All right.
You little baby over there.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why everybody's mad.
Ooh, baby. All right.
Oh, baby. Anyways, we're
Don't
gonna be
do
doing
anything wrong. All right. Sorry.
This was inspired a little bit by the. It was 2 episodes ago when this came. If you count this as one, the previous episode we did, I'm pretty sure, and by the Arctic Monkeys. I mentioned this band a lot, the Black Keys. We're going to be doing their 2011 album, El Camino.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Bro,
what
they're coming to Kentucky. Do you want to go see them?
Maybe.
They're going to
When?
be there in August.
All right, let's talk about this off.
All right.
Because if not, this is going to drag it. We'll buy hotels. We'll buy...
Yeah.
No, but we'll see.
I kind of want to.
Anyways, that is the album for next week, 2011 album, El Camino by the Black Keys. What is the bonus?
The song is Eternally Hateful by Curran J. Callanan.
Green Jake Callahan.
Callanan. Yeah. Interesting name.
I'm
Interesting
Tony
song.
Callahan. Callahan Auto Parts.
Callanan, damn it.
I make car parts.
I make
American
car
person.
because that's who I am, and that's who
what
I care about.
That's me at work.
Yeah,
Anyways, that has been this episode of The Working Hour. Until next time.
Don't work too hard now.